Hey everybody, this is Michelle Goldstein, and today we're going to do an intro to yoga, beginner's yoga practice. So this will just be basic strength building and stretching and breathing, which is the most important part. So go ahead and come to your mat and come onto your knees. Bring your toes together and your knees a little bit further apart. Sit your butt back on your heels and walk your hands forwards. Rest your forehead down to the ground. So this pose is called child's pose, and it's kind of just a sweet space to begin. So the most important thing that we do in yoga practice is breathe. So see if you can begin to shift your breathing so that you're just breathing through your nose. And begin to deepen your breath. And slow your breath down. If you have a difficult time breathing through your nose, you can breathe through your mouth, but breathing through the nose is ideal. And then we'll start to link the breath with a little movement. So when you're ready, just go ahead and come on up to the all fours position. So you'll take your knees under your hips and your wrists under your shoulders. And as you inhale, drop your belly down and arch your back into a back bend. Take the shoulders away from your ears and lift the heart. And as you exhale, round through your spine. This is called cat pose. And push the floor away from you. And then as you inhale, arch your back. This is called cow position. And exhale, round in to cat pose. So this is just a great way to warm up your spine. Inhale, arch your back. Just simple movement. Exhale, round in, tuck your chin into your chest. Push all the air out of your lungs. And one more time. Inhale, arch your back. It's called spinal extension. Exhale, round through your spine. It's called spinal flexion, this motion here. And then come to a neutral spine, so you have a flat back like a tabletop. And tuck your toes under. And we're going to come into our first, really active pose here. It's called downward dog pose. So you'll go ahead and lift your knees up off the floor. And start to lift your hips up towards the sky. And press your heels down towards the ground. So it's quite likely that your heels are up off the ground. That's fine. In yoga, we just work precisely with what we have. So it's perfect, whatever you're working with. Make sure that you're still breathing deeply in and out through your nose. And spread your fingers along the floor. The hands still shoulders distance apart. And I like the feet a little bit wider than hips distance apart. So still breathing here. Take a look at your feet and make sure that the outer edges of your feet are parallel, straight. In other words, if your toes are turned out, then turn them in slightly so the outer feet are like railroad tracks. Start to push the floor away from you and lift the hips up towards the sky so you get a nice stretch in the arms, the shoulders, the backs of the legs, and it's very active, so you definitely are using almost every muscle in your body, except for on your face, unless you decide to lift the corners of your mouth, which I actually recommend through the whole practice if you feel like you can pull it off. And from here, take one more big breath in. And as you exhale, set your knees down on your mat and sit back into child's pose. So the toes come together, the knees open, you rest your forehead down, and just take a few deep breaths here as you feel your heart rate slow down a little bit. And when you're ready, we'll come back up to all fours and make your way back to downward dog again. So I'm a big fan of downward dog pose for a warm-up. As a beginner, it can be pretty challenging, but it's definitely worth the efforts in the long run to stretch and strengthen your body like this. So when we're breathing deeply, if you focus on your breath, it will help keep your mind calm, your body calm as you work in the pose. And take one more breath. Okay, and then you'll shift forwards to plank pose. It's the top of a push-up here. So just be mindful that your hips are not lifting up and that they're not sinking down either. So you want just a straight spine from your heels to the crown of your head. If this is too much for you, if you're challenged to keep the belly firm, you can put your knees down for support, which I definitely recommend to protect your wrists and to protect your back. So take one breath here in your plank pose, and as you exhale, shift forwards a little bit, and with your knees up or down, lower yourself all the way down to the ground, chest first. And when you get to the ground, release your toes and bring your toes together behind you. Hug the elbows in by your rib cage and make sure that your fingertips are back by your lower ribs. Okay, so from here, take your shoulder heads back and you're just going to start to press your chest up into a little back bend. So this is called cobra pose as you inhale. And then as you exhale, lower yourself back down to the ground. Okay, so we'll do that 2 more times. On an inhale, press your chest up into cobra. And exhale, lower yourself down. It doesn't matter how high you lift up, just make sure you keep your feet, hands, pubic bone pressing, and inhale, spinal extension, right? A little back bend, heart lifting. And then exhale from here back to child's pose. Bend the knees, sit the hips back onto your heels. Good. And then inhale up to all fours, hands and knees again. And exhale, tuck your toes, lift your hips, press back to downward facing dog. Take a few breaths here as your body starts to warm up. It starts to get a little bit easier. With practice, it definitely becomes a little easier. So from here, bring your feet together. And on an inhale, lift your right leg straight back behind you. And as you exhale, set the right foot back down next to the left. And inhale, lift your left leg straight back behind you. And exhale, set your left foot down. Good, so with the breath, inhale, right leg lifts high, and this time as you exhale, slowly step your right foot all the way up to the front of your mat, in between your hands. Good, okay, so from here, right hand on the outside of the right foot. Make sure that your right knee is at a right angle, so you don't want the right knee over the ankle, too far forwards. Right knee directly stacked on top of the right ankle. Good, and you want the back leg pretty straight, so if you need to, you can scoot the left foot back a little bit and just take a few breaths here in a runner's lunge position. Sit the hips down slightly so that you get a nice stretch through the groin and inner leg muscles. Still breathing deeply through your nose. Take the rounding out of your spine. One more breath. Okay, and then go ahead and step back to downward facing dog pose. feet together and lift your left leg up behind you as you inhale. And as you exhale, slowly step your left foot all the way up to the front of your mat. So again, if you need to assist your left foot up, go ahead and do that. Get the left knee at a 90-degree angle. Extend the right heel back. Good, and deep breath. Get the shoulders away from the ears. Hug your belly in for support. Sit the hips down a little bit. And breathe deeply. Just breathe deeply. Good. And just one more breath. Step back to downward dog pose. The feet at least hips distance apart, maybe a little wider. Push the floor away from you. And then inhale, shift forwards to plank pose, and we'll put this together here. Exhale with your knees up or down. Lower chest first all the way down to the ground. When you get to the ground, release your toes. Elbows in, fingers by the lower ribs. Press up, inhale to cobra pose. And exhale, lower down to the ground. Good, so make sure you keep the shoulders away from the ears. Again, press up, cobra pose. And exhale, lower yourself down to the ground. Okay, one more time. Inhale, press your chest up to cobra pose. And exhale back to child's pose. Inhale, press up to all fours position. And exhale, downward facing dog pose. And take a deep breath in through your nose. And like you're fogging up a mirror, exhale out your mouth. And bring your feet together again. And lift your right leg, inhale. As you exhale, step your right foot all the way up to the front of your space again. Same thing, you want to align your right knee over your right ankle, the right foot straight in line with the right edge of your yoga mat. And from here we're going to come into a high crescent lunge. So we're actually going to press the torso up and reach the arms up to the sky. You can keep your back knee a little bent, but lift the front of your pelvis up and sit down into the right hip. And take just a few deep breaths here. Squeeze the inner thighs together. And one more breath. And release your hands down to your mat. Step back to downward facing dog pose. Bring your feet together. Lift your left leg up, inhale. Exhale, step your left foot all the way up to your hands. Good. Make sure you align your feet, align your left knee over your left ankle. Firm your belly, arms up, come up into the lunge. So these lunges help to stretch and strengthen the muscles that hold us upright, and I believe that this kind of active practice is incredibly helpful for keeping the body strong and healthy. So sit your hips down a little bit and extend out through the right heel. And one more breath, reach the arms up high. Exhale the hands down to your mat. Step back to downward facing dog pose. Take one breath here, push the floor away from you. And as you exhale, set your knees down on your mat. Nice work, everybody. Cross your ankles behind you. Sit back onto your bottom. Good, and then go ahead and come onto your back with your knees bent and your feet on the floor. So you're lying on your back here, knees bent, feet parallel. And we'll take one back bend here. We'll come into bridge pose. So press your feet down and start to roll your spine up, head and neck on the floor. Walk the shoulder blades together under your back. If possible, interlace your fingers and take a few breaths here Maybe you press your elbows down a little to lift the chest up. And as you breathe, see if you can keep a little space between your chin and your chest to protect your neck. And just one more breath here. Good, everybody. Release your shoulders. Release your arms. Lower your spine down onto the ground. And take your right ankle from here, cross it over your left thigh, and lift your left knee up off the floor. The right hand goes through this triangle between your legs and grab onto either your left hamstrings or your left shin with both hands. And take a few breaths as you begin to gently allow your left knee to come towards you. So allow the stretch to happen and breathe into it. This particular pose, I believe, is one of the most important things that we can actually do for our body, is to stretch the hips and piriformis muscle. This pose helps to release the lower back, and it helps to heal sciatica and sacroiliac joint issues, as well as lower lumbar spine injuries. So you're welcome to linger in any of these poses for longer, just for the sake of time, for keeping this a 20-minute video. I'm just going to take one more breath here. And go ahead and release your hands and release your left foot to the floor and release your right foot to the floor. Cross the left ankle over the right thigh. Then lift your right foot up off the floor. Left hand through this triangle, right? And you grab either the right hamstrings with both hands or the right shin with both hands. And then just take a few breaths as you gently allow your right knee to come towards you. And if you like, you could close your eyes here. And just allow your body to relax as much as possible. Slow your breath down more. And go ahead and give it one last little squeeze. Again, you're welcome to linger longer if that feels right to you. And go ahead and release and hug both knees into your chest. And so the final pose that we practice traditionally in yoga is called Shavasana. This is a very important pose. So basically all you do is lie on your back, straighten your legs if you can. If it's uncomfortable for you to lay with your legs straight, you're welcome to keep your knees bent and drop the knees in towards each other. And close your eyes and just allow your body to rest on the floor and integrate the benefits of the work that you just put in. So again, you're welcome to rest here for as long as you like. And when you're done, bring your knees into your chest and roll yourself onto your side and press yourself up to sit. I always like to finish my practice with one, even if it's just 1 minute of seated meditation, just to get myself centered for my day. So sit comfortably, close your eyes, bring your palms together in front of your heart, and just take a moment in gratitude for your body and for your efforts and for your dedication to your practice. In yoga we say namaste. It means the light in me sees the light in you. Namaste, everybody. If you're interested in more videos, check out Heart Alchemy Yoga on YouTube. Thank you.